Part two here about Revelation 10. So there's 11 verses. I'll try to go kind of quickly because there's a few verses which are really just outstandingly worth looking at. So so here, this is written in the Aramaic from the Peshitta translation, Andrew Gabriel Roth, AENT. And what you'll find is that the words are spelled really weird compared to the Hebrew. Mostly there's a whole bunch of suffix letters. And there's many words have dalet as a prefix. Like, for example, the word heavens, dalet shin mem yod aleph, da shemia. Well, dalet shin mem. But see, the dalet is just simply the prefix letter that means of. It's kind of like what I've noticed in the Aramaic. In Hebrew, a lot of times there's the letter vav or the letter hey in front of a word. And vav is almost like and. A lot of people will, when they're speaking, they go, so it seems like in Hebrew, the vav in front of a word is kind of like, it's just one of those throwaway prefixes. And sometimes the hey just means the, and it's kind of like also one of those throwaway prefixes. Or a tav in the beginning and the end doesn't mean anything other than it hasn't happened. It's not happening present tense. It happened either past or future, but it's not happening now. That's the sense I get when you have a tav is either a prefix and or a suffix. It doesn't change the meaning of the word otherwise constructed, other than you look in the dictionary under the section of tav, and there are words that start with a tav. But if it's a prefix or suffix tav, it doesn't change anything other than tell you if it's happening now or it's not happening now. So there's two tenses of happening. English, it's past, present, and future. Three tenses. Just so you know, not so in Hebrew, it's either happening or not happening. But anyway, so to start with the vav, het zayin yod tav. Well, yod tav is the suffix, which just vav means and I saw, see het zayin, then you can look up in the Hebrew dictionary, chazah is to dream or rave. It's like, whoa, look at that. At the Renaissance Fair, one of the sayings, from the 500 years ago in England, huzzah, that kind of a thing. That's essentially that word. Oh, I saw this great vision. Like, whoa. Okay, so I'm just saying that. How's that het zayin? A fence with a weapon. That's like a castle wall with a moat. Picture a castle high up in the mountain. Well, where's the moat? The high mountain is a protective barrier around the castle. Well, if the het is a castle, then the zayin, like a moat, is the protection of that castle. How's that a vision? Can you vision that type of protection? And it's like, it's a vision of something otherwise unseen or inaccessible. So to seal something up is het tav mem. Then het is the fence, the enclosure. What's mem? Well, mem, that's the womb, the water. That's the place where the tender things live before they jump out as noon. So see, what I'm trying to say is, as I've been trying to build to over these weeks in this understanding that if every time we see Shavah, number 7, it's about the vow. And if every time we see Mem and Noon, it's about the mother, the wife, the bride, the virgin who takes in the seed of her husband, the bride's maid who's taken on the oil, the shemen of the bridegroom, but that doesn't fit the story. The bridegroom is supposed to consummate with the bride, not the bridesmaid. What's going on here? So what I'm saying is that you got to kind of play with pictures and types. And if somebody says, shut up, you're messing with it, then okay, then just shut up and leave it alone. Go away. Go listen to that guy on the YouTube. There's some good speakers out there. But if you're willing to engage the pictures, what's he saying? What's the metaphorical way of reading what he's talking about? So we're pulling in commands from the Torah. We're pulling in Bible stories. We're pulling in parables that Yeshua said. We're pulling in Yeshua's narrative gospel life story correlated to the alphabet chronological sequence, knowing that every letter, its meaning was on purpose, with the in between the letter that came before it and after it, and Aleph representing the one speaking is I am, which is the Elohim himself somehow giving us the story, in Tav coming to this end, then every word I'm looking at has to play into that scenario as a fractal basis. So Het Zion is the vision of this something within the castle that's protected and guarded, like steep cliffs or a moat or warriors. Everybody step back. Nobody has access to this. Kind of like the scroll with the 7 seals. And then Aleph, Het, Resh, Nun, Aleph. Well, Achar, like Elohim, Achrim, that's the same word. It means other, next, strange, different, but it's also future. Delayed, or somebody who's put to shame because they show up late. They didn't make the phone call that they should have and told the guy they weren't coming to work today because the other job they were on took way much longer than they thought, which happened to me Friday. Dang, that's a car. Aleph, Het, Resh. But Het, Resh is white. Aleph, or Het, Vav, Resh, white-haired, noble. Aleph, Het is brother. A white-haired noble, future. Next, a vision of a white-haired noble as a brother in the next future. Well, is that like the nation of Israel finally stepping up to the peerage, the status of doing what they were told? Or is that a picture of Yahusha himself, a noble brother, the only one who's ever done what he's supposed to without being put to shame? Resh Nun, a ringing cry. Het Resh Nun, Aleph Resh. A vision of Aleph Het Resh. Nun Aleph could mean just, well, Nun Aleph is a word. Na means please, help, now, please. Vision of the future. Melach, Mem Lamed Aleph Kaf Aleph. Again, the Aleph is the Aramaic suffix. Mem Lamed Aleph Kaf. Malach. Well, that's messenger. How is that messenger? How is that angel? Mem, the one who. Lamed Kaf is Laka, which is to you. So Mem Lamed Kaf is king. Yeah, but to you, Lamed Kaf is, this is handed to you. This is how you're supposed to walk. This is the counsel you're supposed to take. So the king is the guy who takes counsel. He has got these various ministers of state that he takes advice and counsel from. Then he makes the determination. He's the decider, like George Bush said. Other people bring in information, and if they lie to him or bring in bad information and he makes a bad decision, it's not his fault, it's their fault for giving him false or insufficient scope of reality. But so for the angel to be one sent on a mission, Mem Lamed Aleph Kaf, here you go and send this message to you. So Mem is the one who Lamed, see there's a parashah that's called Lekah. It's spelled Lamed Kaf, and it's where Elohim says to Abraham, "Go, get out, leave this country and go somewhere else. Leave where your family's from and go elsewhere." That's Lamed Kaf, Lekah. How do you know the difference? Because the vowel points, the dots and lines underneath the words. I'm saying that for a reason. The dots and points underneath a word are the vowels by which you know how to read Lamed Kaf, whether it's Lek or Lekah. Whether it means go or get out, you get going. So the dots and lines of the vowel points in the modern Hebrew guide you as to know exactly what it means. But the Paleo without the dots and lines can mean a bunch of different stuff around the same thing, including those things with the dots and lines. But that's what dots and lines are for, is they guide your thinking to the specific, what the scholars, the rabbis, the smart guys have determined this is what it really means. Okay, so Mem Lamed Aleph Kaf is the one who's been sent. So it's called messenger, sent to deliver a message to you. And then the next word, dalet nun chet tav. Well, the tav is the throwaway suffix. Dalet means of, or it's the throwaway prefix in the Aramaic. So what you're left with is nun chet. Well, that's the word Noah. Noah, like the guy who built the ark. And his name means comfort, but it also, if you look up in the Hebrew dictionary, it's like an airplane coming in for a landing. It's like, like everybody just calm down. Serenity now. Just, that's nun chet. Vision, future, angel, mem nun, out of and away from, shin mem yod aleph. Well, that's the word heavens. But see, Shemayim is the Hebrew word heaven, which is shin mem yod mem. This is shin mem yod aleph. Well, that the aleph suffix is kind of like the default throwaway Aramaic suffix. So it's shin mem yod, which is my name. Shem is name. My name, my place, my fame, my reputation, my business. Is it character? See that guy giving the talk saying Shem means character, and you think, oh, character, what's he like? Shem, my name and my place. Remember, we've been talking for weeks here about that the moedim are the ed, ayin dalet, witness, testimony, bejewelment of identity. This is where I'm at. And the deity, the Elohim, the theos that you have, if he does not hold to being represented by the Moedim, it ain't Yahuwah Zavot, the Elohim of Israel, because Yahuwah Zavot, the Elohim of Israel, very specifically said, these are my Moedi, Leviticus 23, and he included Yom HaShabbat, the seventh, Shin Bet Ayin, the seventh day Sabbath, and then the seven Moedim, Pesach, Chag HaMatzot, Shavuot, 50 days of counting, then Yom Teruah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot, and Shemini Atzeret, the 4 in the fall. See, other people say Shavuot's actually 2 festivals, the 1st and the 50th, and then they drop Shemini Atzeret. Well, that's a different key. It changes the code, just so you know. And I say that because this whole chapter is about this. What's Shin Mem Yod Aleph? Heavens, no, my name, my place, who I am based on my Ayin Dalet Moedim. It's not just his character. So you could say, well, it's the character of your Lord God, Jesus Christ. What's his character? Oh, mercy and kind, mercy and truth, righteousness, justice, peace, Prince of Peace. That's his character. Slow to anger. Well, whose voice is thundering? We'll get to that in a minute. And then the next word, vav mem, ayin tet pei. Well, ayin tet pei means enveloped, wrapped up, but it's also feeble, faint, and languishing. And then the next word, ayin nun nun, means cloud, cloudy, covered by clouds. And then the word kuf shin tav, vav kushin tav aleph. Again, vav throwaway suffix or prefix, aleph throwaway suffix, and you got kuf shin tav. Well, that's the word for bow, like the rider with a bow and arrow, but it also means to be swelled up with an arch, a vault, the vault of the heavens, inside a mushroom shape looking up, inside a domed, like OMSI down here in Portland, the museum, planisphere inside. They have this big round dome ceiling. That's a kuf shin tav. And then here's the word dalet, shin mem yod aleph. Well, dalet, the prefix, shemaya, that's the word heavens again. Ayin lamed, upon or at or above, that's the yoke, right? Ayin lamed. And then resh shin hey. Remember, this is Aramaic, not Hebrew. So resh aleph shin is head. Rasha, ref shin hey suffix. So it's head, but see, remember Reshin Tav, the last 3 letters of the alphabet. Remember in Yeshua, Matthew, was it 28:18? He says, all authority has been given unto me. That word authority is Reshin. Licensed, authorized, permitted. Reshin Tav, Aleph Reshin Tav is betrothed. So one who is locked in, betrothed, is the Reshin Tav authorized, licensed, permitted, granted authority because of the relationship. Betrothed isn't yet wedded, but it's an aspect of relationship. So for Yeshua to rise from the dead, and then he says, I'm telling you right now that all authority in heaven and in earth is given to me, is mine. Now, wait a minute. If he's God himself, didn't he have all that authority before he ever came to earth? And in the book of Revelation, where it says, the lamb that was slain, he is so worthy that he should be given honor and power and glory and riches. Wait a minute, didn't he already have all that stuff? Apparently not. So apparently he isn't God, as we would say Jesus Christ is God. He is one who came from heaven to earth. Nicodemus said so. Nikad, nicked, nun kuf dalet, dots and lines. That's where I was going with that. Die enough. What has dots and lines? So you look back at the word in Deuteronomy 29:28, got dots above the word. There's that nick. It has dots. We'll get into that in a few minutes. I'm trying to bring all this stuff together. The Het Zion Vav Hey, Vav Het Zion Vav Hey. Well, that's the word. Het Zion is the only two letters you need to look at, which is the same as the first word, vision. Then here's this Aleph Yod Kaf. Aleph Yod, if you look that up in the dictionary, means where? Like, it's the word for island. It's like, where's that island? Well, you don't have a map. There's no roads. You're out in the middle of the sea. Hopefully you understand how to read the stars, because if you're navigating out on the open ocean and you're looking for an island, it's like, whoa, maybe you could read what's in the water, whether there's certain kelp or certain types of fishes, or how do you find the island? That's like, oh, I'm lost. Where? That's the meaning of the word ayin yod or aleph yod kaf, and the kaf suffix basically means you. It's like, you're lost? Look in the dictionary. Aleph yod kaf means, where are you? What's going on? And it means to qualify in what manner? To qualify in what manner? It's like, where's the island? How are you going to find the island? It's like, I'm completely lost here. Will somebody please tell me what's going on? What the heck is this about? Yeah, that's what the word means. And then the next word is again, heaven, or sheen mem. No, it's sheen mem sheen aleph. It's not sheen mem yod aleph. So it's not heaven, it's sheen mem sheen. Well, shemesh is the word for sun, S-U-N. But if you look in the dictionary, son is diligent servant, as obedient servant, as if to anthropomorphize the son. Elohim, the creator, says to the son, your job, O servant, is to jump up into the sky every morning and run across the sky, lightening the world, and go down in the evening. Yes, sir. So then at nighttime, run across the other side of the world and jump up and run across the sky and scurry on back over to the other side. And he does that dutifully as a good servant every day for thousands of years. So the word shin mem shin means servant or minister or virile member. Virility. He just jumps up and does it without ever wearying in time. He's like, oh, I have to again? Oh, come on. See, the opposite of shemesh is the word feeble, faint, and languishing, which is the word ayin tet pei, which was earlier in the sentence, that also means enveloped or wrapped up in clouds. So if the sun it means literally not just sun, but it's a picture of the sun, that he sees the face shining like the sun, but it means virile, to go about and do what you're told. And the one that was clouds, remember that clouds obscure the sun, but it didn't obscure the face of this sun, of the face of the messenger, but the cloud, or feebleness. So let's picture a staging. Feebleness has clouded the future. But the real vision, like what's in the castle up in the cliffs, of the vision of the future, or the promise of the future that Elohim has for his people Israel, like this privilege, this kufresh noon, in this castle, in the heights, comes out from there via this messenger. And though it's been wrapped up in clouds, it, from the vaults of the heavens, suddenly, like the stars being clear where you can navigate and see, the licensed authority provided this vision of what's going on and in what manner does a virile member, not one that's beaten down and subjugated like Zechariah 2, the four horns that have oppressed Judah, Israel, and Jerusalem so much, shove their faces down into the rocks, digging your face into the sharp that no man could even lift his head. Yeah, that's what our enemies have done all these years. This is showing the recovery of that. And then the word Vav Resh Gimel Lamed, regal. Hey, that's feet, but it's also leg. It's not just his feet, it's his legs, like the legs of Rome, of legs of iron in Daniel chapter 2, the image that Nebuchadnezzar had in his dream. Then Aleph Yod Kaf, to qualify in what manner. The legs of the servant minister, Shemesh, virile, strong, in what manner? Ayin Mem Vav Dalet Aleph. Ayin Mem Dalet, Ayin Mem Vav Dalet in this case means position, Ahmad, like Ahmad Basodi. Ahmad Basodi, has anybody been made aware of my secret? Remember that verse? He mentions it twice, Ahmad Basodi, the secret of Elohim, the foundation. Well, these are the columns built on the foundation, the foundation being Basod, the Ahmad are the columns. Ahmad means position, standing, established, arranged in columns for determining value. Well, the whole idea of Ayin Resh Kaf is to prepare, compare, arrange in order, row, columns, so that something can be taken at value. That's Shin Mem Nun. That's Ayin Resh Kaf. That's Shin Ayin Resh. That's being able to arrange and organize so you can look at it and say, oh, I see what this is. I understand what's going on here. That's like the legs, but the word leg is also custom, habit, and tradition. It's also regal. The regalim, if you look in the dictionary, are the three festivals, Moedim, where Israel, the men of Israel, told to go to Jerusalem. At unleavened bread, Pesach on unleavened bread, at Shavuot, and then at Sukkot. Those are called the regal festivals. The last word, Dalet, Nun Vav Resh Aleph, Norah, Da Norah. Again, the word Dalet means of, it's the throwaway prefix, Aleph, the throwaway suffix, but then you got Nun Vav Resh, Nor. Well, that's like menorah. It means the place where light is shining. So you picture that the one who has a regular custom and habit and tradition of walking to the Moedim as we were told to do is like beaming light from this castle up in the cliffs, like a lighthouse with the sun, as the sun in its strength as a virile resh. Yeah, that's what Israel's called to be, right? That's the kind of imagery that Yahusha is as he did his job coming to earth, willingly laid his life down to be crucified, dead, buried, so he could burst through the other side of the grave, pay Zadi, and rise up, Kuf, Resh, Sheen, blazing fire. Yeah, like that. And he said, follow me. Well, then that's what's captured in this vision in verse 1. And then there's this word, chapter, Revelation 10, verse 2, and it says, Vav Aleph Yod Tav. Wait a minute. We just talked about Aleph Yod Tav a few minutes ago. It means to spell a word. That's what it means. Spell a word. Lamed Hey, belonging to her, of her, toward her, for her. Lamed is a prefix letter that means teach and learn. That's the Lamed Shepherd staff, but it means belonging to, for, by, regarding. It's pushing us towards. Hey is the feminine suffix. So you could say, by doing so, this is what she gets. This is what's hers. Bet Aleph Yod Dalet Hey. Aleph Yod Dalet is the word I mentioned before. Distress, calamity, misfortune, vaporize, evaporate, steam, and it also means a festival of the Gentiles. Now, the word Aleph Yod Dalet Hey, or Aleph Hey, you look in the dictionary, it's where you get the word idea. So the Aleph is silent, and then you get Aleph Yod, Dalet Hey, Ida. It's where we get the word idea, which is the same as ideal and ideology. And again, you have to throw the other aleph in there to get it to sound like that, but that's where the English word idea comes from. So you get the idea of a feast of the Gentiles is the problem that has caused distress, calamity, misfortune, and evaporated as steam. What evaporates as steam? Water. What's water? Oh, that's the mem. The place of mem, instead of being a pool of gestation, the pool where things grow and thrive, a pond as an ecosystem, it evaporates as steam. Why? With the feasts of the Gentiles. Wait a minute, isn't the feast of the Gentiles what was commanded by the Council of Nicaea to do away with the Moedim of Yahuwah? Isn't it the feast of the Gentiles which usurped Leviticus 23 at the Council of Nicaea? Thank you, Saint Constantine. And gave us Sunday, Christmas, and Easter, and Halloween, and whatever to boot with that, doing away with the bejewelment that Yahuwah Zavot gave himself in perpetuity to Israel. If to spell a word phonetically is keyed by the Mishkan pattern, which is harbored or retained by the Moedim, that is the Mishkan pattern, then it's the Moedim by which we can Aleph Yod Tav, the real meaning of the word. You can look at any dictionary and find the meaning of words, but to spell a word by the meaning of the words, the Aleph Yod Tav of the Aleph Vav Tav, that the meaning of every letter is his sworn oath, his agreement, which is the great Shin Bet Ayin, the seven, the vow that he has sworn himself to, that our forefathers swore us to. Everything that Yahuwah says we will do, we will hear. That vow is what's kept by the Aleph Vav Tav, which has to be learned to be read Aleph Yod Tav, which by doing so will vaporize the oppressive authority that the feasts of the Gentiles have lorded over Israel for all these years, as per Zechariah 2, verse 1. The horns of the nations have taken away the horns of Israel because Israel didn't have a regard of appreciation for the horns that Yahweh gave her. Learn how to read. Kuf Resh Aleph. Precious, dear, costly, rare, of great value. Of what value? Compare it to anything else. Yod Kuf Resh. Learn how to read. Kuf Resh Aleph. What do you read? Kuf Resh Aleph Nun. Quran, that's what that word means. But reading itself is the privilege to be able to read Yahuwah's own personal words. Is the most radiant Kuf Resh Nun, horned Kuf Resh Nun, which overthrows the ideology retained by the Gentiles that they have kept by their feast days, usurping Yahweh's feast days. The next word is Kaf Tav Bet Vav Nun Aleph. Kaf Tav Bet is writing, Katub. But Tav Bet Vav Nun, like the word Tav Bet Nun Yod Tav, Tabanit, like the word pattern as in Mishkan pattern. Bet Nun, Bet Vav Nun, bone, Bana, it's the construction of the bones, the skeletal organization as the pattern, like the letter Samic. The pattern, the Mishkan pattern of understanding what was written. That's that word, katubona. And then Pei Tav Yod Het Aleph. Well, Pei Tav Het is the word opening. Key, what you stick in and open, is Mem Pei Tav Het. Pei Tav He is a fool, a simpleton, enticed, seduced by an open Pei Tav. Hey, look at this. You want some of that? Oh, yeah, really? Pei Tav Het. Oh, no, this is the exclusive Pei Tav behind the Het. Only accessible by covenant. And Vav Samik Mem. Samik Mem, spice, drug, or medicine. Resh Gimel Lamed Hey. Oh, somebody has spiced, somebody has added to, somebody has medicine or drug is pharmakia. Somehow, Greek word pharmakia, by witchcraft and sorcery, changed the regala, changed the regalia, the regulated, regal, relegated regal. The legs of Rome, of iron, have changed the Moedim of Yahuwah's people. And as they walk after the festivals of their enemies, instead of walking after their Elohim, Leviticus 23, they have lost all their Kufresh Nun. That's what Jeremiah 2 is about, 2 verse 1. Or the end of chapter 1, the last 2 verses. That's what that vision for carpenters, for chareshim, charesh, silent, deaf, mute, kind of scary, creepy, sylvan, thick, dark, thick words to carve and plow and engrave in wood, metal, or pottery. Silent, deaf, mute, unintelligible words. Dalit, Yod Mem, Aleph. Yod Mem, Yod Nun, Aleph. Mem Yod Nun, mean, like Mem Nun, out of and away from, but in this case, Mem Yod Nun, literally, stick Yod between Mem and Nun, what comes out of what? What is the Nun jumping out of the Mem? It means invent, fabricate, or lie. Yemen, like the country Yemen, means right hand. It means classify, sort, deception, heresy, and apostasy. So by changing the Moedim, they've brought in deception, apostasy, lies, by fabricating a different regal, a regal regulation of this is how we worship our God. Upon the sea, Ayin Lamed, Yod Mem Aleph. Yod Mem Aleph. Well, Yod Mem is sea, the Aleph is the throwaway suffix, so it's Yam, which is the kind of like the word day, Yod Vav Mem. But you see, if the Yod is the prefix, he will Mem Aleph. How do you Mem? Take it to heart for yourself. Pull the seed in of the Father's word. Yeshua told us with the parable of the sower that the seed is the word of Elohim. Like his bride, his woman who invites, accepts, opens the chet of her Pei Tav to accept the seed, the shemen of her husband, father, Abba. Yod Mem Aleph. That word Mem Aleph is used a number of times. So I'm bringing a point of that. Then this next word, Dalit, Samik Mem Lamed. Well, Samik Mem Lamed, Aleph suffix, is image, likeness, similar, symbol, or symbolize, like the letters of the alphabet. This is something similar, but it's a similarity of a likeness of an image. It also is a worn garment or a rag. And then the next word, Dalit Yod Nun, judge. But if Dalit is that throwaway prefix, then Yod Nun, there isn't a word. Yod Dalit is leg or arm or hand or power or strength. Ayin Lamed upon Aleph Resh Ayin Aleph. Well, see, in Hebrew, Aleph Resh Zadi is earth. This is Aleph Resh Ayin, translated earth. But Resh Ayin is the word for friend, companion, but also evil, harm, and calamity. So I could say this, Dalit Yod Nun is the word in Hebrew for judge. Dalit is not the throwaway prefix. It's just Dan. That's the word for judgment or determine or make or look what's going on and figure it out. Make the call. Why is there evil on the earth? Because of this similar likeness of the Moedim, Christmas and Easter and Sunday, but they're not the Moedim. It's a lie. It's the fabrication that our enemies have usurped. Remember the last thing that Moshe said before he died? The end of the book of Deuteronomy, he says, who is like you, Israel, that has their Elohim, their father, given you everything? The castle in the steep cliffs that is inapproachably, inaccessibly high and protected and saved for you, but you got a Shamash Omer and Ayin Shin Hey just walking his ways. He's given you everything. The Torah right here. Change his day, change his name, change his Moedim. Go, gone. How'd they pull that one off? Council of Nicaea. St. Constantine. Similar but different. Earth but evil. Eretz, I will run gladly. Looking like a friend, but intending harm and evil. Is that what's hidden in the Aramaic? Gosh, is that what's hidden in the modern Hebrew letters that you can see if you look at the Paleo? That's the end of verse 2. Verse 3, Vav Kuf Ayin Aleph. Again, throw away Vav, throw away Aleph. You got Kuf Ayin. It means undermined, destruction, and the word concave. If you're standing at the beach and the wave come in, you can feel the sand being pulled out from under you. It's that feeling. That's Kuf Ayin. And then Bet Kuf Lamed Aleph. Well, Kuf Lamed, Kufav Lamed is voice, kol. This is Bet Kuf Lamed. It means fast, swift, easy, light, not difficult, unimportant, lenient rule. Somebody said, I got a little kid, you got a babysitter. The babysitter says to the little kid, your parents say you got to be in bed at 8 o'clock. They didn't really mean that. It's a lenient rule. 8:30, 9, doesn't matter. Oh, really? Oh, that's right. You can let me stay up till 9, maybe 9:30, doesn't matter. It's a lenient rule. It's just kind of a, somewhere around there. Like, what day is the Sabbath day? Any day's the Sabbath, whatever day you want. It's the seventh day. Well, seventh, when do you start to count? It's a lenient slippy rule. It's unimportant, no big deal. Jesus is our Sabbath day. Jesus is our Passover. You don't have to really keep Passover. That's the attitude of Bet Kuf Lamed. Yeah, whatever. It's no big deal. Kuf Lamed, similar to Samik Lamed Hey, Salah, means, think about this. Selah, think about that. Weigh it, put it in the basket and weigh it. What did he say? What do we say he said? Well, I know he said it's the seventh day, but it could be any seventh day. Jesus is our seventh day. It doesn't matter. You can do anything you want. No, that's not what he said. No, that's what we're told he said. He said keep Pesach. Well, he is our Passover. So he said don't eat pork. Well, you can eat whatever you want. In fact, you should worship him specifically Christmas and Easter by eating ham. That proves how much we love him. It proves that we don't love him? Is that what you're saying? Next word, Resh Mem Aleph, Ramah. Well, Resh Mem, where you get Rome, Romulan, Romeo. It means, oh, wait a minute, that's high place. They worshiped Elohim on the high places in an offense to him. That's what he said all through the Old Testament. Every time he complained about them worshiping under every leafy tree on every high place, that's Ramah. But look in the dictionary, Resh Mem Aleph here means cheat, swindling, deceit. Very interesting in the definition, it says to show a difference of opinion between two different opposing voices of authority. Wow! To show a difference of opinion between two voices of authority. You have Yahweh Zavot, the Elohim of Israel, and you've got St. Constantine, the Council of Nicaea, and the Christian fucking church. I mean, Pekuf Dalet Ing, being visited. Gosh! Aleph Yod Kaf, in the manner of what's going on. That's what's going on. Aleph Resh Yod Aleph. Ari, Aleph Resh Yod, lion, air, melody, picking fruit, a ravaging lion just ravaging the people of Yahweh. Dalet Gimel, dag, there's that tickle fish. Samik Resh. Gimel Samik, rude, vulgar, impolite, dying, agony. Gimel Vav Samik, cut, break, stir, mix, scrambled. Dalet Gimel, multiplying the tickling as you're dying in agony. sorry, Samik Resh, turning away. It's a picture of what's going on, picture of what's been going on, and it's all about the little holiday festivals. Ain't that sweet? Then here's this word vav kaf dalet. Kaf dalet. Look it up in the dictionary. It means round like an oval, like the mouth of a pitcher. Kaf dalet. Dalet's a door. Could be the mouth of a pitcher. Kaf is an open hand. The hand of the door. Yeshua claimed to be the door. Is it a matter of identifying? What did Yeshua mean by I'm the door? I'm the door to my Father's house. You claim my name and you can have anything you want and have to do anything he said. Or I'm the door to my Father's house. I am the living Torah. I am every word he said, impersonating, anthropomorphized as a human being. So I'm going to walk in his ways. So you follow me and walk in his ways. That's the door to my Father's house, is keep the Torah, which is your righteousness. Yeah, he died on the cross to bequeath us righteousness. Yeah, that's the Christian thing. But what he did was pay for our ignorance, stupidity, and sin and death. He bought our death. He paid for our debt and took it upon himself to buy the loan from another agency. It's now you that you're indebted to instead of somebody else. That's the picture. So does he say, now that I bought what you owe, now you owe me, now you don't have to do anything? He says, now you have to do everything, just like you were always supposed to. Only I'm the guy. And then remember, there's that verse where Yeshua said, bring those people who don't want me to rule over them, bring them in front of me and kill them. No, gentle Jesus, meek and mild. That's our Lord and Savior, the guy who's going to do that. Where's the slow to anger? Well, he's been slow to anger. How much are we going to keep pushing to see where that anger breaks into thundering wrath? We're coming up to that verse. Kuf Ayin Aleph, undermined, concave destruction. Mem Lamed Lamed Vav. Mem Lamed Lamed is another word like Debar and Amer. It means voice, speech, talk. Mem Lamed Lamed. It's also a folded hem. So when you have a hem on a skirt or on a pair of pants that scrapes along the ground, it gets frayed and tattered. That's the word. A folded hem. Withered, frayed, decayed. What's been decayed? What he told us, his voice. How? Like a lion ravaging the flock, picking fruit, tickling us while we're dying in agony because they've broken up, redefining repentance, redefining the reason for the crucifixion, redefining the terms of the relationship of the covenant. What's happened is everything's gotten so convoluted that we think we're standing here giving him praise and glory, but we're being undermined unto a destruction. Of what? The next word, Shin Bet Ayin Aleph. The sevenfold, the curse, the vow, the curse that we're under for breaking the vow. Resh Ayin Mem Yod Nun, the next word. Resh Ayin Mem means violently thundering and raged complaint. That's the word translated thunder. 7 thunders. Picture this, violently thundering, enraged complaint regarding the vow. Everything Yahweh said we will hear and we will do. Not. There's a symbol or something like that. That's what we, his people, have done to him. Thank you, Jesus, for allowing us to do that. We're not going to keep your day. We're not going to eat what you said to eat. We're not going to keep your festivals, but we're going to say we love you. We're going to sing some songs. And we're encouraged by our pastors and professors and priests and prophets who don't encourage people to regard his name and his day and his Moedim, but they'll encourage people to believe they get to fly into the heavens and that they get to have wonderful, because his character is so slow to anger. And yet here, numerous times, John hears this word, violently thundering and raged complaint. Oh, don't talk about that. Bet Kuf Lamed Yod He Vav Nun. Hey Kuf Lamed means alleviated, easing, Not important. Remember, bet kuf lamed was kuf lamed. If it's kuf vav lamed, that's voice. It's a derivative, and it means fast, swift, easy, light, not difficult, unimportant. It's a lenient rule. Oh, he didn't really mean it. He didn't. It doesn't really bother him. For us to think that he is so enraged, remember the word for character is nose, which is also wrath, fuming wrath, flaring nostrils. You can't get much of a stronger word than flaring nostrils, violently thundering, enraged complaint. Ooh, it's like some thunder. It's like a little more than that. But to say there's 7 of them, bet ayin is to bubble up. Shin bet ayin is the number 7. That which is bubbling up. How much does he care whether we pay attention to that vow? What vow? How often does he say? Then, when Israel does what we're supposed to, I will be your Elohim and you will be my people. My people. Ayin mem yod. Ayin mem. Yod means my. So what is a people? Ayining mem. Ayin. It's a circle with a dot. The eyeball with a pupil. The fruit with the seed carrying the DNA, the fruit bearing, the ayin being born from the samach being the tree, the branches, the vine, which bears fruit. So the ayin can be eaten in the mouth. Man's way returned on his own head. You are going to eat the fruit of your behavior. And when you change the DNA of the seed, make it genetically modified, you turn the ayin dalits of Yod He Vav He, our father, into gold and silver balls on the Christmas tree, painted colored Easter eggs from the rabbit that had to do with Ishtar, the fertility goddess, and the whole Christmas thing, and had to do with sacrificing babies that were birthed through other rituals the previous year. And it gets into, look at Lou White's book, Fossilized Customs, if you want to hear about that. And the point is, what we have inherited, though it's not our fault, we have gone along with it because we've been lied to, duped, resh, mem, aleph, cheated, swindled. And the only way to know what the difference is between the two voices of authority is not which one has the most trips to heaven, which one gets to go up and rule on councils and get to make stars and galaxies. Which one gets to ride on Ferris wheels and take helicopter rides in the sky? Which one gets to travel interdimensionally? It's what did Yahweh say? The Sabbath day and the Moedim are the testimonies of his identity. That's what he gave us. The Sabbath day, the Moedim, Leviticus 23, which is in the language. And if you spell words letter by letter, Aleph, Yod, Tav, you will see what the thundering, violently enraged complaint is about, because the sworn vow is we will keep these Moedim. That's what he said. And my entire life for 50 years was nobody gives a rat's patootie about the Moedim but the stupid Jews and maybe some SDAs. But they're going to burn in hell because they've got some prophetess lady that they follow, and they refuse their own Messiah. We were lied to about that. The whole thing has been a big cluster, Pekuf Dalet, of lies. Pekuf Dalet. To be visited to see what you've done with what you were entrusted with. Like the wealthy man going on a journey and entrusting his stuff to his servants. and then coming back and say, what do you do with what I entrusted you? Israel was entrusted with the truth. Let's say the Christian church was entrusted with the Holy Spirit, the gospel. The Christian church was entrusted with the gospel. The Jews were entrusted with the Torah, if you want to use this coarse, gross delineation. And both have perverted, twisted, destroyed, undermined, kuf-ayined the rest of us for all these years. And here we are, 2024. And what some people are saying, there ain't much peace and safety left on the face of the earth. The things that were injected into people a few years ago is going to kick in pretty soon, and there goes most of the people. You get into the next chapter of Revelation, and there goes a third of the planet. You look what's going on over in the Middle East and Ukraine, and people got their fingers on buttons that they're itching to push with sending all kinds of chemistry into the atmosphere. Besides the WHO and the World Economic Forum, boy, those guys are itching to do all kinds of stuff. Maybe later on, within a month or two, or so they hope, so they say. And what are we left with? Send $20 to help the Mercy Corps, help the people. Sit down in Shabbat. Start counting to 50. Eat unleavened bread for a week. Yeah, then maybe your prayers will be heard. That's what he said. Eat unleavened bread for a week, get the leavening out of your house for a week, and you'll punch the ravaging lion in the mouth? Aria? Who's tickling while you're dying? What? Verse 4, Vav Kaf Dalet. Kaf Dalet, that's rounded like a mouth of a pitch or something being poured out. Hey Dalet Aleph. That's a joyous shout. Hey Dalet, like Hodu, Hey Vav Dalet. But Hey Dalet Aleph is a word which is the closest thing, even though you can't find that word really meaning anything in the dictionary. Hey Dalet Aleph literally means that is what is written. Why should that be the word that's used here? That is what is written. Hey Dalet Aleph. This is Kaf Vav Kaf Dalet, which is Kaf is the open hand, like written Torah, and this is the door. In other words, what did he say? He wrote it down. What is written? Well, what it means, no, what's written? You won't be able to know unless you learn how to read the language. Mem Lamed Lamed Vav, the very next word. His, Vav suffix, speech. What's written? His speech. Shin Bet Ayin Aleph, 7. Sworn vow. Resh Ayin Mem Yod Nun, violently thundering enraged complaint. Next word, Mem Tet Yod Bet. What's Tet Yod Bet? It's like Tet Vav Bet, Tov, which is good. Mem, the object, the place of Tet Yod Bet, which is ameliorated or made fitting. In other words, go back and look at what's written, and you'll see what's fitting about why he is so enraged and violently thundering with complaint regarding the vow. Hey Vav Yod Tav means exist. Lamed Mem Kaf Tav Bet, Lamed Mem, what is actually written. Made fitting, ameliorated what is actually written if you go back to what is actually there and seeing what he said. That's why they tell us you can't do this at home. You can't read the scriptures. We're going to translate it from the Hebrew to the Aramaic to the Greek to the Latin to the English, the German, the whatever else, and say, ha ha, it's too far scrambled. If Israel would have just grabbed a hold of my Musi, everything I said would happen. Grab a hold of my Ma'uzi. Mem Ayin Vav Zion. Ayin Zion. That's the castle in the sky. The castle in the clouds. It's been so clouded over that we don't know, but it's still radiantly shining like the sun. Kufresh noon. Everything he said is still viable and active for us. For us right now. Vav, Shin Mem Ayin Tav, hearing. Kuf Lamed Aleph. Well, Kuf Lamed, Kuf Vav Lamed is voice, but again, Kuf Lamed Aleph is easy, light, not too difficult. It's not too difficult. We're sitting here talking about it. Mem Nun. What? Because out of listening and hearing what was written, out of that comes Shin Mem Yod Aleph. Heavens, my name, my place, my character. Dalet, Shin Bet Ayin. That which is of the seven vow, Dalet Alet Mem Resh, declare Chet Tav Vav Mem, seal, authorized signatory, signature, closed, subscribed by contract for a time. See, Chet Tav Mem doesn't just mean seal it up, it's done. No, Chet Tav Mem means that. Chet Tav Vav Mem in this case, it also means subscribed by contract, like signing up for a periodical. In other words, Daniel was told, hide the words and seal the book till the time of the end. They were supposed to be hidden for a period of time. And so this is saying the curse of betraying the vow was for a certain period of time. Hey Vav, that's what Mem Aleph. There's that word Mem Aleph again. What's in the pool? Where something can't jump out, or what's in there gestating all his promises of coming back. Dalet Mem Lamed Lamed Vav. That's what he said. Everything he said has been in the pool, kept out of our reach, but still there, held in abeyance, just waiting for us to realize where we are and what's going on here. Shin Bet Ayin 7, Resh Ayin Mem Yod Nun, violently thundering and rage complaint, and no, Vavlam, Ka Tav, Kaf Tav Bet Vav, Yod Vav Hey Yod. Whoa, Yod Vav Hey Yod, that's almost like Yod Vav Hey, right? But Tav Bet, see, there's no noon. So this, it says, he says, don't write them. The seven thunder. So you have to look at this and say, well, it's been 2,000 years almost. John wrote this book of Revelation at about 90 AD. And here it is, 2024, almost 2,000 years later. It's been sealed up. But if I start looking at what did he say and what does it mean? Verse 5, Ve'melaka, the angel, Hevav, he, it, Dalet, Het Zion, Yod Tav, my vision, het, that's a Het Zion, Dalet, Kuf Aleph Mem. Well, Kuf Aleph Mem means to rise up or put into position, very similar to Ahmad, upon the sea, Yod Mem Aleph, and upon Yod Bet Shin Aleph, dry land. Well, see, if I looked at the Yod Mem Aleph, is at the sea, but there's that Mem, that pool of water, and Bet Shin is dry land, or to be disappointed. What's wet and what's dry. You could say, well, what he's holding in potential and what we're disappointed about. That's kind of what's been sustaining us all these years, is that he has this hope, this thing to expect. It's like this castle in the sky in the heavens that was brought down from in the clouds to made shining for us. Next word, Dalet Aleph Resh Yod Mem. Dalet Aleph Resh is post office, a mail carrier, one who goes around. Then again, the word Aleph Yod Dalet Hey, Aleph Yod Dalet meaning feast of the Gentiles, distress, calamity, Yod Dalet, hand, arm, power, evaporated, vaporized. And the last word of verse 5 here, Lamed Shin Mem Yod Aleph, which is, again, my name, or belonging to, of the heavens. So go back and look at that. The messenger in my vision rise up a position upon the sea and the dry land, like a post office mail carrier bringing the message of why has power evaporated from his people? Why has power been given? Again, bringing to bear the feast of the Gentiles, misrepresenting Lamed Shemayim as a false authority of my name, my position, my character. Again, he's bringing that subject matter back and placing it right on the table and saying, this is the it. Verse 6, Vav Yod Mem Aleph. Again, the M, it's like saying, well, that's the word sailor or seamanship, like the guy looking how to navigate Haggah out looking for the island. It means, the best I could tell from thinking about this is to actualize or to realize or to make the thing bearable, comprehensible, to bring it to bear here. Bet Aleph or Bet Hey Vav, of them Dalet Chet Yod, life. Lamed Ayin Lamed Mem, Ayin Lamed Mem Yod Nun, Le'olam Alamin, forever. It's kind of like forever, universally, forever, foreverly. Hey Vav, it, they, Dalet Bet Resh Hey. Well, Dalet Bet Resh is the bar, word, speech, thing, matter, but Dalet could be that throwaway prefix, and Bet Resh is the word for pure and clean. And then the word Lamed Shin Mem Yod Aleph, of the heavens belonging to my name. In other words, he's bringing it to this and said, listen, the navigating of reality, where is life, is forever and ever locked in, proven by the, you might say, the message of the stars of the heavens, but it's his reputation, which is never going to falter or change. Oh, that was the old covenant. This is the new. Not. No such thing. Oh, that was spiritual Israel thrown away. This is, or old Israel, real physical Israel. This is spiritual Israel. That's not true either. Dalet Bet Hey. Dalet Bet is a bear, affluent, overflow, strength, and abundance. Lamed Aleph Resh Ayin Hey. Well, again, that's the word earth, Aleph Resh Ayin, but Resh Ayin is friend, companion, evil. Where is this? How is the vow play into it? What's the circumstances on earth that are bringing about either evil or affluent overflow of strength and abundance? And again, the word for bear is reiterated, Dalet Bet Vav, Dalet Bet Hey. Bear, affluent, overflow, strength, and abundance. Then the word Dalet Tav Vav Bet. It's not Tet Vav Bet. It's not Ta good. It's Tav Vav Bet. Well, there's no word in the dictionary for that. The word Tav Bet Hey, the hull of a ship, a trunk like you put luggage in, an ark or a box like Noah's Ark. So if Tav Vav Bet has to do with a vessel, a body, a bet, that the covenant is carried in, hey, kind of like the temple. We're supposed to be the temple. Is he talking about us doing what we're supposed to do? The next word, Zion Bet Nun Aleph. Well, Zion Bet Nun is a salesman or one who goes about. Zion Bet is the word to have a flow or a flux. It's like a ship that's actually moving along the water. It's like the sailor actually navigating on purpose, like the treasure map with the picture of the boot being the ship, like the soul of the boot, a ship in the water, lameding so that mem, lameding through the mem so that noon. If you understand the picture of the story of the letters, you can plug them in. Zion Bet Noon, flowing, a salesman going from place to place to place. Bet Noon, Ben, son, understand, build, Zion, the seventh, to swear a vow, to be adorned with weapons. If you know these letters, then you can wrap your mind around every single spelled word. The last two words of this verse, Lamed Aleph, which is no or not, and then Nun Hey Vav Aleph. Well, Nun Hey Vav means lament or wailing, but Hey Vav Aleph means exist. And in the dictionary, you'll see that they take this word and say the Nun is the prefix, like the lightning bolt of Hey, and then Vav Aleph is the suffix, but Nun Hey Hey means long for, eagerly. So you could say not wailing or not longing for. If you back up, and this is verse 6, if you look back and say to actualize life forever, eternal life, they need to have the pure, clean word speech belonging to my name, place, character, overflowing on the earth. So then if you look at Nun Hey Vav Aleph, Nun Hey Vav is to exist, the actuality. Noon, it's like, do it. Do what he said. It's the fact that we don't do what he said that brings the lament and the wailing and the hope that we've been sold a bunch of bunk by some salesman. No, just do what I said. Yeah, but we were told that we shouldn't do what you said. I even heard somebody say once, I should not keep the Sabbath day, because if I do keep the Sabbath day, I'm trying to exercise my own righteousness instead of trusting in the righteousness of Christ for him dying on the cross to alleviate me from having to do anything. That's opposite thinking, but that's what's being preached and taught. Verse 7, Aleph Lamed Aleph. If not, except for Beyom, on the day, Dalet Mem Lamed Aleph Kaf, Dalet Mem, or Dalet of the Mem Lamed Aleph Kaf, there's the angel messenger. Dalet Shin Bet Ayin, that's the 7, the vow, the curse. Mem Aleph, there's that word again, to objectify, to realize that what's in the Mem. Then the word Dalet Ayin Tav Yod Dalet. Well, Ayin Tav is time. Ayin Tav Dalet, or Ayin Tav Yod Dalet, is ready, prepared, and future. There's something about the vow this is what it means to be ready, to be prepared for when the future comes. When that future day, Lamed Mem Zion Ayin Kuf. Zion Ayin Kuf is outcry, call together, or convocation. Vav Aleph Shin Tav Lamed Mem. Aleph Shin Tav is the word for wife. Shin Tav Lamed is transplant a seedling. Aleph Resh Zion Hey. Resh Zion, that's the word secret, lean, thin, scarce. Dalet Aleph Lamed Hey Aleph, deity, godliness. Hey Vav, it, they. Dalet Samik Bet Resh, saber. Hypothetically, what do you think? Think, be of opinion, hope, trust, countenance, appearance. Reason, interpret, excellent scholar. Last two words of this verse, Lamed Ayin Bet Dalet Vav He Yod. Ayin Bet Dalet, there's that word for servant, worshiper. And then Noon Bet Yod Aleph, prophet, or Bet Yod Aleph is to come. So it says, except for on the day of the messenger, the 7th messenger, to realize, to be the actual preparation of being ready, call together, transplant a secret of Dalet Aleph Lamed Hey, of Allah, of transplant this godly secret, Resh Zion. What's this godly secret? Reason, think, saber, think about obedience. Noon Bet Yod Aleph. His servants, the prophets. Think about what it means that what did he prophesy about being obedient to him? Well, I can go back to Deuteronomy, and he said, I put before you the blessing and the curse, life and death. Do what I say and live, and don't do what I say and get cursed. Are we running out of time? There's it looks like we've still got a whole nother page. We're already at 2 minutes, or 2 hours and 15 minutes. Let me bring up, just in the interest of everybody's time. Let me jump ahead to verse 10. He goes on talking about maybe we'll talk about this next week, but he talks about he leaves that thing with the 7 thunders, and he says, let me just go quick. Verse 8. Kuf Lamed, light, swift, easy, no big deal, unimportant. Shin Mem Ayin Tav. To hear. It's no big deal to hear. Mem Noon, what comes from the heavens, Tav Vav Bet, again, like the hull of a ship, Dalet Mem Lamed Lamed, which is the speech of my people, Ayin Mem Yod, and then Amer, say, Zion Lamed, despised, neglected, mean, despicable, mean meaning thin and cheap. Somic bet is returned. Remember, somic bet is to encircle, come back around. I think it was the word noon somic bet meant cause something to change. Come back around, lamed, kaf, tav, bet, vav, noon, aleph, and then the word dalet, bet, aleph, yod, dalet. There's that word aleph, yod, dalet, which means distress, misfortune, calamity, the feast of the Gentiles. Or the feast of the Gentiles is not just Christmas, Easter, Halloween, Sunday, but it's to feast on Yahweh's people. They eat us. They consume our energy. They're basically vampires. And I think he's basically saying, it's the verse 8, it's easy to listen. It's easy to listen to the voice from the heavens. What did he say? Truth and kindness, righteousness and justice. His name is day and his moedim. That's about it. You see, his identity is wrapped up in his language, which is wrapped up or held by his name, his day, and his moedim. And so the thing they changed is his name, his day, and his moedim. It's that simple. We keep going over it and over it and over it because it's that simple. His name, his day, and his moedim. They feast on Yahweh's people by changing his name, his day, and his moedim. They get to consume our consciousness, our energy, our life, our resources, because Yahweh can't help us because we're not acting like his people, acting like his people, believing like his people are supposed to believe. It goes on to say, to come back around to the writing that was despised and neglected, the ketubah, by understanding the pattern, the messenger of the angel standing upon the earth and upon the sea. You could say standing upon the evil and the harm and the yod mem aleph. What did he actually say? What seed is supposed to be in your mem? What shemen is supposed to be in your nor? What light in your light? Verse 9, Vav Aleph Zion Lamed. See, the word Zion Lamed used previously means cheap, despicable, despised, and rejected. Here, the word Aleph Zion Lamed means weak, helpless, and to go away. Lamed Vav Tav, that's not really a word, but Lamed, that it could be teachings, that Lamed is that shepherd staff. Then there's that word Melach, angel, messenger. Then there's that Kaf Dalet word again. And then declare Aleph Nun Aleph. Hey, we talked about that a couple weeks ago. I am the living God. I know what that word means. Aleph Nun Aleph. Declare I'm the living God. Only that's not really what it means here. Declare, wah! Because of, Lamed Hey, Lamed Mem Tav Lamed. Well, Mem Tav is death, but Lamed Mem Tav Lamed. Mem Tav Lamed means hung up or suspended. Lamed Yod. Something of Yahuwah's has been suspended. Some cry of like an exclamation point, Aleph Nun Aleph, because of her Lamed Hey. What? Something is hung up and suspended. His Lamed Kaf Tav Bet Vav Nun Aleph. The rational Tav here, Tav Bet Vav Nun. Rational, theoretical intelligence, understanding, and wisdom of the writing, of the pattern. Declare my coming back around Samic Bet, and Aleph Kaf Vav Lamed, that's the word eat, Vav Nun Mem Resh. This is a really interesting thing. Nun Mem Resh. Well, Nun, remember, is like the lightning bolt, that which is, or that which is causing, or that which is doing. Mem Resh is the word for bitter. So he says, eat of this writing, and bitter to you, Lamed Kaf. Here's the word Kaf Resh Samic Kaf. Kaf prefix like Kaf suffix yours. Resh Samic is a fragment of crushed. So if you take one of those big boulders like riprap and you crush it down to where it's gravel, you can use it in a roadway or walk path, and it packs in. You can crush the big rocks, and it'll turn into a path. So Resh Samic means fragment of crushed It's also the word for drop, which is like a drop of the pool, a little piece of gravel of the rock. But kaf resh samik also means belly, like a big stomach, gnawing, chewing, milling wood. It's also a word for armchair. Sit in your armchair, just listen, get a big belly, consuming, eating. That's the picture. But the word nun mem resh is like to consume, like a rodent would consume or chew on your house. That's the picture. Aleph lamed aleph, but only or except, and then the word bet, pevav mem kaf. Well, pevav mem, like the word puma, mountain lion, mouth, in your mouth. Pei in Hebrew, pei aleph would be mouth, but here it's pevav mem, like puma. So bet pevav mem kaf is in your mouth. Nun hevav resh, and then the word aleph yod kaf to qualify in what manner. Dalet bet shin aleph, honey. So they say, well, nun hevav resh means to be sweet. That's not the word for sweet. Nun hevav resh is to exist. Nun, like the lightning bolt, doing. Well, that's the word, remember, we looked at earlier that said wailing lament or to long for eagerly. So it says in your mouth, wailing lament, long for eagerly, to qualify in what manner? Sweet as honey. But see, if I read this as not wailing lament or long for eagerly, it's kind of like with the Wizard of Oz story. Oh, if we only had a brain, if we only had a heart, or could go back to Kansas, just do what he said. You could have done it any time. You could have gone home any time. Just do what he said. You got the ruby slippers, you know. Hevav aleph, exist. Nun, do what he said, and it qualifies what manner makes it be. Sweet as honey. But the word sweet as honey isn't there. What is he saying? If you do what he said, you'll realize what's in your mouth is sweet as honey. What's in your mouth? Spelling the words and then doing what he said, because the message of the truth is carried in the spelling of the words. You don't spell the words, you read the translations, and they can lie to you and tell you anything they want. They can change the name, they could change the day, they could change the festivals, the Moedim, they could change the covenant, they could change your hope and the promises, and you'll never know. That's what's happened. And you'll never know. But if you learn the language, it'll be sweet as honey in your mouth. But what is it that becomes bitter in your belly, in your stomach? It doesn't say stomach, it says like gnawing wood. So here's a picture, nun mem resh. Nun, like the lightning bolt of mem resh, bitterness. But you look in the dictionary, nun mem resh means to mark with spots. It's the word leopard, but it's also the word tiger and the word panther, like the word puma. So it's intentionally using these words. What is marked with spots and lines, like a leopard and a panther? The nikud of the modern Hebrew. Aha! So I could say, if you eat of the modern Hebrew with all the nikud markings of lines and dots, and even if you're chewing at it, it's just like a rat chewing on the structure of your house. Yeah, you're studying, but you go back and you look at the spelling of the words phonetically, the meaning of the letters, and it's sweet like honey in your mouth. That's really something. And the very next word is vav, nun samik bet. That nun samik bet, which means turn back around. This is to cause the change of the turn of events. Lamed, kaf tav bet vav nun aleph, according to what was written. Mem nun, out of and away from, aleph yod dalet hey, the distress and the misfortune, the feast of the Gentiles. Dalet mem lamed aleph kaf hey, as the messenger says, eat, and that's aleph kaf lamed tav hey. And then here's the word again, vav aleph yod tav. That's spelling of the words phonetically. And then the word hey vav aleph, just simply it. Be pami, that's in my mouth. Aleph yod kaf, to qualify in what manner. Dalet bet shin, honey. Het lamed yod. Now there's the word that's translated sweet. Het lamed yod, like challah bread. It's either sweet or it's to be sick and rusty. Sweet pleased. Vav kaf dalet. That's the pouring of the mouth, the pouring of the pitcher. Aleph kaf lamed tav. Hey, eat. Mem resh tav. Well, there's the word bitter. Kaf resh samek yod, my belly. So he says, I did take of the words, I ate it, it was sweet, but in my belly it was bitter. Why is it bitter in your belly? Kaf resh samek. What I can say is just like looking at the Beatitudes, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Woo-hoo! Let's go in. And then as soon as you come in, the big white fence right in front of you is, blessed are they who mourn. It's like, why should you come into the kingdom and mourn? To realize what hell has been on earth for these 3,000 years since the time of David, that we've been lied to, that we've just given away everything he said, that there was a 2,730-year curse, and that the problem with coming back to the words now is that it activates this whole book of Revelation, bringing us up to chapter 11, where a lot of bad stuff is going to happen. A third of all the people in the face of the earth die. A third of all the fish in the sea die. A third of all the trees burn up. A third of all the grass. But for Yahweh's people, it'll be a time of, remember, it says a time of trouble is coming for Jacob, but he will be saved in it. It's like being birthed. It's like, hey, it's nice and cozy in the womb, but you squirt it out and boom, you're suddenly on the face of the earth. It's like facing your mortality, dying on the face of the earth, only to come out into the eternal realm. It's like what seems like horrible travail now will turn into something beautiful, but it's like, but the travail present at the moment, it looks like we're standing at the threshold. So as we come back to his words, it's sweet in our mouth. And it's like, whoa, hey, it's the truth. Finally, the truth. And it's like, oh, but what that means is everything that our forefathers have been believing and trying to do for all these years has been disturbingly wrong. And it means that the Muslims and the Jews that hated the Christians for lying to them were actually right for being mad at the Christians for lying to them. Because the Christians have been lied to by their teachers. Well, that was part of the curse. Because our forefathers said that Yahweh's stuff was unimportant. Easy, like, it doesn't matter. Oh, it matters. It's the thundering, violently enraged, flaring nostrils of his anger, slow to anger, but justifiably angry that for all these thousands of years, millions of lives wasted in travail and pain that could have been rejoicing in the terms of his covenant of he's our Elohim and we're his people. But see, if that's in front of us, then I have to harbor this hope of the reality. Then it throws us into verse 11. It says, and say, Ve'amer, to me is given Yod He Yod Bet. Well, Aleph He Yod He, or Aleph He Bet He is the word for love. This is Yod He Yod Bet. Well, He Bet is the word to give. So there's something about giving and loving. Lakav, mind is giving. There's that word Tava Bet, like the hull of a ship, again, or containing Zion Bet Noon, to buy, or going around as a salesman. It's given unto him Lamed Mem Tav Nun Bet, Yod Vav, to prophesy, but Tav Nun Bet means to bear fruit. So here John was told something is given to him, or some expression of love is to cause to bear fruit, Ayin Lamed, yoked with Ayin Mem Mem. Well, Ayin Mem is people. This is the other place I said I was going to get to. Ayin Mem Mem means joined or connected. Nations which are dark and dim, Gentile. All these people who have been living in darkness, who haven't seen this light, haven't been shown the truth. They've been lied to. They've been misled. They've fought and died. They've killed and they were killed for lies. Never knowing that we were supposed to just sit down on the seventh day and keep Yahweh's regard of Pesach and unleavened bread instead of Easter, Ishtar. It's not recognizing Yeshua rose from the dead. He certainly did. I believe he absolutely did, and ascended up into the heavens and is coming back. It has nothing to do with Ishtar, Easter. Even that word, Yahweh said he hates that. So why do we cling to that as a description? Oh, let's call it Pascha. Well, let's call it Pesach. And nations, ayin mem, or aleph mem, vav tav aleph, and tongues, lamed shin nun aleph, tongue, lashon, which are actually different in variations, different nations and tongues and darkened peoples. The last two words here, vav lem mem lamed kaf aleph, melech. Yeah, but see, it's not just king, or dominion. It's one who will lamed kaf as directed. Mem, one who will lamed kaf, lekah. Melech, Well, like we said, the Canadian Melech, a Canadian king, because they say at the end of their words. That would be the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, right? Canadian Melech, Just a little joke there, humor. The last word, Samech Gimel Yod Aleph Aleph. Well, Gimel Yod Aleph is a valley, or where we get the word geo, because the Gimel is our third letter in English, the letter C, but it's pronounced like the G. But basically, the word Samech Gimel Yod Aleph means numerous or enough. And king enough? No, one who walks as instructed. Samech Vav Gimel Yod Aleph is a subject for study. Samech Vav Gimel, large basket, fenced, comfortable enclosure, genre belonging to a class or to classify. Well, as being a valley, it's a synonym with emek, ayin mem kuf, which means deep, profound, study, and fundamental. And the word He Tav Nun Chet Lamed is also valley or wadi or ravine, or that which causes a flash flood, a swarm of bees, a torrent. In other words, I could look at these last two words and say, the one who walks as instructed, like kings, like priests who say, Cohen, this is the truth, and studies the deep, profound matters, is what causes a swarm of bees, like a torrent, like a flash flood, even to the people, the ayin mem, who are dim and darkened, joined, connected as Gentiles, as nations who have been given bad words to process and different languages by which to understand. There's something about spelling the words of Yahuwah's own alphabet, Ivrit, which will noon Samech Bet, cause the turn of events, but nothing else will. So at the very beginning, reading through chapter 10 and saying, I don't know what the heck this is talking about, it's a throwaway chapter. Well, he wrote it. We just spent 2.5 hours trying to say, well, it's going back and reading what he said and doing what he said. And it's all keyed to Gentile festivals versus Yahuwah's ayin dalet yod, his mem vav ayin dalet yod. Leviticus 23. That's how important this is. And without it, without doing what he said, Nun He Vav Aleph, all of our study is like rats chewing on wood, sitting in an armchair, eating popcorn, getting a big belly, and it's like, yep. Well, that's our choice. Do what he said, read his words or not. Kaf Tav Bet Vav Nun. Rational, theoretical intelligence, understanding wisdom, understanding the pattern in the writing, that you were Lamed Kaf Tav given. Lamed Kaf Tav Bet, Tav Vav Bet. This is the hull of the ship that we're supposed to navigate. Again, pictures. Okay, there we are. We're at the end. Sorry it took so long, but that's chapter 10 of Revelation.
Hallelujah. But we praise thee, Father, for all that thou provides us, everything that thou gives us. And we ask, Abba, that we would um, plainly, clearly, and truthfully follow thine instructions. We pray that we would see what thou hast for us and that we will not deter from it, Father. We thank thee and we exalt thee for providing us with these things in thy words, in thy language. We thank thee and we praise thee for bringing us together. Hashem Yosha. Amen.
Amen.